Hello, Mrs. Tania Ramalho. In preparation for your presentation at the 2021 UNESCO DCMÉT Chair Symposium, thank you for participating in this interview. Please tell us about yourself.
So as you said, my name is Tania Ramalho, and I am a Brazilian American. I came to the United States to go to college to do my PhD program, and I had the opportunity to stay and become a professor in the United States. I am an education professor. Foundations of education is my biggest area, and in particular, critical pedagogy is my area of specialty. I'm also passionate about issues of global citizenship education. And in global citizenship education, concerns about women and children are very dear to my heart. So I like a lot of things.
Thank you. What are your concerns about your country or region at the moment?
As a Brazilian American, I bridge both countries. So my concerns are for both countries, and these concerns are completely connected. From a Latin American perspective, I know that whatever happens in the United States, if the United States catches a cold, we will get very sick down there. So the two countries are connected, and not in the ways that I hope that in the future they will be connected with more respect. So the US today we are just getting out of a fascist phase where a lot of racists came out of the woodwork. A lot of people who are white supremacists came out of the woodwork and tried to take over the nation in very conservative ways. That influenced Brazil. We have a very incompetent president at the moment, and who was President Trump's first friend in a sense. So we are hoping that in the upcoming elections in Brazil, this president will be eliminated, and that will get Brazil back on some kind of tracks, because we really have lost a lot. Right. So those are the two main political concerns I have. And economically speaking, my biggest concern is, how is neoliberalism going to survive after the pandemic or not? So I think we are in a real path to see what we can do so that we can create an economic system that's a little more humane.
Thank you. And what are your current inspirations at the moment?
Well, here in the United States, we have had many books on racism recently, and I brought a couple here. For instance, Ibram Kendi, who was a young African-American man who was brilliant, wrote How to Be an Anti-Racist, which is both biographical as well as very instructional about how he sees how we can overcome racism. A woman, Robin DiAngelo, wrote White Fragility, where she's giving a white perspective on this issue. But my favorite and most inspiring has been My Grandmother's Hand. And this man, Resmaa Menakem, he is a counselor, and he basically is bringing social theory and psychology together through trauma theory to show how we embodied these issues that racism lives in the bodies of white people as well as people of color, indigenous people. I have friends in Canada who have done research on the impact of schools for indigenous people and trauma in the indigenous community. But the thing is that as I read, I get inspired because it's not just the racism that's embedded. As a woman, I know that my body also has trauma from gender issues, from being social class issues, having lived among poverty. I've never experienced poverty, but I come from a low middle class background. So always confronting people who have a lot and people who have many millions who have nothing. It's very traumatic for a person who lives in what's so-called third world countries. So those are things that are inspiring me to figure out how can we really change these traumas so that we can create a better living for all.
Well, thank you very much, Tania Ramalho, for this interview, and have a good day.
Thank you, Andrew.